little vlog with a slightly different angle and more of the hallway displayed for anyone who wants to see that. So what's my thoughts today then, straying away from my childhood heroes and updates on what it's like to have the most recent surgery that I've had. Well, I've thought of the nature of vlogs, which is what this is, and being a vlogger, sort of what that entails. And I'm thinking that I'm going to use this not just for obviously your entertainment, which is what I hope you get from this, but also to sort of commit to the sands of time and be able to have something to look back on, and with that in mind, I'm going to go through what has recently been going on in my life. So the current limbo, and the reason why I have so much time to make these, is because I am currently, hopefully, going to be finding myself in either a job or university. Why at 36 am I applying for university? Well, I don't feel 36. According to some, I don't look 36, but I think they're lying. And comment below, let me know. Feed into my narcissism. Why 36? Because I never knew what I wanted to do. And when I realized what I did want to do, there's been a lot of progression in levels of comfort. I was never very academic at school and didn't really understand the process of what it meant to take in information and understand it and then apply it to, the different aspects of subject topics and whatnot. And I was always sort of fed the idea, was spoon-fed the idea that it was all trick questions and you had to know what to look out for, but they never explained that it was just tiny parts that you basically just meant just read the whole damn question. That's all they should have said, not they're going to try and catch you out, because it put me on the back foot for school. And when I left school, I didn't have any good GCSEs. I wanted to get out of school. I hated school. It was just an uncomfy place for me. I had a lot of good friends. I say a lot, I had a handful of good friends. There was Rob, Nicole, Asa, Anna, and if I'm forgetting anyone, this is upper school. So my education system went first school, middle school, upper school. I have my mate Ollie, who was from middle school, one of my childhood best friend, who I still have a really strong connection with today, actually, which is really cool. We don't always talk every day, every week, every month, but when we do, it's just that cliche thing of just catching up, and it just carries on from the last time, which is something I really have quite a regard for. I think would be the right word. Anyway, I hold that in high regard. Sounds about right. Not quite what I was reaching for. I wanted out of school because I wasn't a fan of basically being stuck in a room and forced to get talked at. I never understood. And when I was younger and in school, sort of hand in hand really, they didn't teach you how to understand things. They just blasted you with information, whereas kids in school now have got a lot more things that have been put in place, learning styles, techniques, and things that appeal to kids, to make that information and understanding, going. Did not have that growing up, and those that did, they were obviously a lot smarter than I was. Just hands up. I got into music straight after school. I did have a bit of a want and need to do something that I enjoyed, but something that I felt was, I don't know, maybe it was a sort of feeding into that narcissism of being the star. Maybe it was just 'cause I wanted to be like Ollie's older brother, and Ollie's older brother was a guitarist. Not that I didn't want to be like Ollie. I wanted to have his sense of humor, his personality. His brother was exactly the same, but his brother played guitar specifically. And I just looked up to that, and I admired, the just him as a person, or both as a person, but both as people. And the music scene really wasn't for me, if I'm honest with you, because I sound better in my head than what I do to other people's ears. And I wasn't aware of that for a long time. My guitar skills are very mediocre now that the world of YouTube has made it accessible for everybody to just sweep pick me under the table. Sweep pick me under the carpet. That would have been a better pun, but missed opportunities and all. I did a couple of bands, and I did, just up and down the local areas and surrounding areas, and I just found that it really wasn't as fulfilling for me to do that. There was some great times, I love the sort of nature of the sort of brotherhood of having a friends band, who'd you do a lot of tours with, or you do a lot of shows with, more at the point, and that camaraderie of having the guys in your band. But on the other side, it does become a brotherhood, and with brotherhood comes that sort of natural conflict. And over time, I sort of fell away from it, because over time I had a gradual, what's the word I'm looking for, degeneration of my hip joints and my lower back, which caused a lot of issues with standing for long periods of time, and also had a vocal nodule thanks to a thyroid condition, which I will always have. So music became a hobby, and then it slowly tapered out when I started to become bored of working on my own. I wanted to work with other people, but other people weren't, they were quite reluctant to work within my sort of, what would be the right word? 'Cause it's like a field, when people want to get together and throw ideas around. I wanted to sit in my little studio, write a guitar line, put a drum line in, and then say, right, bassist, put something to this. Not, here's what I want, because otherwise I'd have done it myself. But yeah, that died out, and that's still a regret of mine. And I would love to get back into working with people in a live music setting and sort of adapt my situation to them. But to now, I would certainly play to my strengths more, and that's something I've learned, which will come into play in a minute. And the thing that I should have done when I was younger was stop trying to be someone else and try to, realize who I was and where I was comfortable and where I'd been more successful. Because you basically put in, what would be the best example? Trying to shoehorn in who's the best of the best, in one field, into a field that they're really not very good at. Whereas in this field that they're in, they could be absolutely amazing. I was over here pushing myself into something to try and fit with what I wanted to do, whereas I could have been a lot more successful over here, and found a love for it over time. And that brings me to my current limbo situation, in that I have built up a career in fitness. I became a fitness instructor after my thyroid gland issue caused me to gain a fair amount of weight, a lifestyle that I probably shouldn't have gone into, with that coupled up and made it so that I was quite unfit and unhealthy. I got back into gym because I'd always had a love for the gym, being able to work on my own and get that pump and buzz and from being in there. And that sparked back up again. But I also worked with a guy called Eddie, who at the time had just finished his sports science degree, and he was able to push me and really educate me in certain aspects. And I thought, damn, I'm enjoying being in this environment so much. I could really do this as a job, because I don't know whether I was just chasing prestige, if I'm honest with you. I know that there was a guy who worked at the gym who was very dismissive of me, and I wanted a lot of his attention in terms of like his um, acceptance. You know, could name names. You know, I respect the guy a lot still to this day, and never, never stopped. I just always chased him, going, good job, and he did. And that was when, and it was in a very strange way, because once I became a fitness instructor, I moved on to the personal training, stayed there whilst I worked into GP referral, which is the personal trainer 0.5, where you go to, so if fitness instructing is your sort of basic principles, it only really opens up the avenues of becoming essentially a glorified cleaner and someone who can do inductions. So it's health and safety. It's anatomy and physiology 101. It's the gateway. It's the base coat. Personal training then takes it into your techniques. Where do you go in terms of programming, and how would you put together a program for so many months to progress a client? What nutritional advice would you do? But again, very rudimentary stuff in terms of it just being a general population. What we call exercise referral used to be known as GP referral or medref, these kind of things. Exercise referral takes about 12 to 16 off the top of my head medical conditions that are all very closely linked. You have your metabolics, so you've got your diabetes, type 1, type 2. You've got your COPD, asthma, so respiratory, circulatory, and cardiovascular. You've got like hypertension, hypotension, mental health, depression, stress, anxiety. In terms of skeletal, you've got lower back pain, hip replacement, or joint replacement, and there's some more in there, and that's just off the top of my head. So it's applying your advanced resistance techniques and sort of stripping them back and really starting from a whole new level, and that basically gives you the ability to work with special populations, I guess. Doesn't sound right. Maybe I'll come back to that in a minute. But the next step after that, I did a lot of sidestepping, pre-postnatal, youth exercise specialist. I did boot camp circuits to get a bit of side cash, a bit of side hustling going on to pay for the rent. I got into that kettlebells, pad work, and then I did the level 4. I did a lot of nutritional stuff, and the practical level 4 was in strength and conditioning, and I also got an Olympic lifting tag on. And all of that is great because it opens up this broad spectrum of things you can use. So once you've got into your general populations, for instance, let's say you work from day one with somebody who's got a medical condition, and you have to start here. This would be personal training for general pops. Medical referral, you bring them up to here, then you take them through with this, and that's normally where it'd stop. I got to go beyond that and work into agility training, plyometrics, which I guess is part of agility, but very sport specific stuff, or functional work, and then into Olympic lifting. And also again, I'd apply from pregnancy and childbirth, etc. And I sort of hit a brick wall, so I became a tutor. So I got my education and learning qualifications, and that was a sort of a pipe dream in a lot of ways, thinking, I can do that because it'll take me from finicky clients who are a bit airy-fairy, might do 1 month, might do 2 months, and then might never see them again, because it's just not something that even at the time people thought was financially viable. So I thought, right, people who want to learn, they're going to put the money down, they're going to want to finish the whole course, they're going to want to learn, they want to take the information in, they want to be successful. And I found that it was just a lot of very arrogant young people who, don't get me wrong, for every 10 people, there were 2 absolute superstars, but there might have been 8 who were just intolerable human beings. And that was a generational thing, because when I was younger, yeah, you know, every teenager, you know, 20-year-old thinks they know everything. But the accessibility to doesn't sound right now. The access to information and the constant being barraged by all these different, let me check the time, influencers, you know, was a big thing at the time. So you'd have somebody come up with implants and steroids, just throwing bro science around, and that was a phrase that I've not heard for a while, actually. But the constantly being told this is right, no, that's right, and it created cult-like thought processes, which ended up with like your CrossFitters and whatnot. You know, this is the ultimate right. Everything else is bullshit. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. And that's the whole paradigm shift from free weight area, big scary men, you know, very misogynistic, bullying. Oh, don't go near them. I'm a woman. I'm going to wear, you know, my baggies. I want to get rid of my ass. I don't want to go there. I just want to stay in my little, you know, cardio area. And to go from that to seeing it and saying, look, you can go down there because these guys aren't actually bad. They're 1 or 2 bad apples that have just ruined the bunch. And then over time, this has been this whole shift where now it's all women have got the hair straightened and they're wearing hats, and they've got, oh, there's a message from school, and they've got you know, the makeup on, and all they ever do is train the glutes. And I've got a lot of thoughts on that I share quite frequently, and one day I'll commit that to, again, you know, for posterity, if I've got the gall to do it, because I feel like a lot of people would be really upset with me. Again, everyone's got an opinion on it and everybody thinks they know better. So once I got to tutoring, and I found that I was just infuriated with these types of people that I'd walked into, because I expected them to be like the past and things are always moving on. And you don't realize that I then got a assessor qualification, so I could tutor and assess. But I found myself assessing my own students, and I was like, I'm not keen on this, because it put a lot of pressure on me to then, you know, pass them off for my own, you know, like, am I a good teacher kind of thing. And also, these are the people I've spent time with, and they've got that ability to sort of see through that facade, because as an assessor, you've got to be quiet and pretty stern-faced, just do the thing you're doing, tick it off, move on. And I've gone for a lot of roles working, you know, as an external assessor to be brought in, but during the pandemic, it all pretty much stopped. So yeah, I sort of hit a bit of a brick wall when it came to fitness and leisure. And it was quite upsetting, because, you know, I want to get back into it, but every time I apply for a job, I found myself getting turned down, and you think, whoa, what have I not got? It's 'cause you got too much, you know? So I started to look into, as opposed to crap hours, you know, before work, after work, and inconsistent money, I thought, you know what, I'm going to take my studying to the next level, and I'm finally going to apply for university. So I applied for physiotherapy, and I've got my second interview. And right now, at this present moment in time, as of the 20th, 21st, something along those lines, I do know what it is, don't worry. I have a interview for a role at the local gym's brand, but it's actually at their head office. That's where it'll be based. You know, forsaking that, I will be able to move into, hopefully, getting this second interview, which is in January, and moving into full-time study. The worry, and this is something that I think that I will enjoy putting this down for, so I can reflect back on it in future, is that I don't know what I'm going to do if I get the job and I get university, because it's one will start probably in January and the other one starts in September. So, I want both. That's the problem. So to be able to put this down now and be able to come back to it in the future and say, well, that did work, that didn't work, that was great. I wish I'd have known that what I know now. 'Cause, I guess that's the hindsight, is that, it's beautiful, but it's also an absolute curse, because, had I have known, if you're watching this back from a video that I've made in the future for what it is now, then this is all going to be like, oh God, if you'd have only known, Sorry, tangent there. So yeah, that's where I am now, and I'm also considering how to progress this format that I'm currently on, and what to do with the sort of way I want to, make videos, what I want to do, what topic I want to work with, and what I enjoy doing, but not make it a chore, not start to find it as cathartic as I do. I want to find myself lamenting things during the week and going, that's a good idea, not, oh God, I've got to think of something, because that's just going to bring about writer's block. So yeah, this is my brain droppings, I guess. And I've got 5 minutes before I've got to go pick my son up from school. If you, my daughter is she's 15, 16 in January, and she knows exactly what she wants to do for her job. At least she has an idea, and she's found out how to do the course. I've shown her how to look at the entry requirements, and she's studying for them specifically to get in and move on with her life. And do you know what? That's great. But if you are someone who is like my son, for instance, I feel is going to be very similar to me, because we're very similar now. Don't put too much pressure on yourself to try and be something that you're not. Let's harken back to the first message and really wrap it up in a bow and say that if you find yourself wanting to do something and not being very good at it, find something that you're really good at that you may not have even thought of, go with it, try a bit of everything. And you know what, going from wanting to stand on stage and sing and entertain people to sometimes having these moments of realization of, what am I doing in a gym? I'm just some fat kid from, Thornton Grammar. And that's gone on because you never really progress. You get older and you have more things happen, but you're always going to be, I say I'm always going to be feeling like a 16-year-old, but things are just dropping to bits slowly, in terms of my general body. But if I could give myself any advice, and if you can utilize this advice in the future for yourself, please do. Glean what you will, disregard the rest, but don't try and force yourself into a circle hole if you're a square block. Find your square hole and just slide in perfectly. Be the best that you can be the top of your game, and you will find a love and you will find the satisfaction in doing your job well versus doing something you enjoy and getting mediocre feedback. So with that, hopefully tied up nicely, I'm going to obviously go away and think, oh, damn it, I mentioned that and I said I was going to do this. And that's the nature of life for you, I guess. I'm going to see you next Monday, Tuesday for week 3. Yeah, I think it's week 3, week 4? No, it's week 3 because I did the 2 thing last time, didn't I? Yeah, it's week 3 follow-up on the surgery. And until then, I am going to do my amazing outro because I'm well versed at it now. You ready? Be good. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Until next time, adios.